After further examination of the documents you brought back, I have to agree with your assessment. The Ashlander Chodala has somehow siphoned divine energy away from Lord Vivek. Not exactly, but now that we know that the affliction isn't natural, we can work toward a solution, one that probably involves Chodala's staff. How the Ashlander got his hands on Sothasil's tool and turned it into a weapon is beyond me, though. Eventually, but we need to be cautious. If Chodala is as respected as you say, attacking him would start a war we can't afford to partake in. Go to Aldrin and talk to his sister, Saren. I don't trust her either, but she worked with you before. Get to Aldrin and locate Saren. She needs to tell us more about Chodala and then help us acquire his staff. Without it, we can't restore Vivek. Meanwhile, I need to placate the populace. The people grow concerned over Vivek's continuing isolation. Didn't we cover this? Let me refresh your memory. Lord Vivek suffers stoically as his divine energy drains away. Neither my administrations nor his defenses have been sufficient to plug the hole, so we've isolated him to keep panic to a minimum. If we knew for certain, we wouldn't be sending you to make a deal with a heretical Ashlander, now would we? Chodala must have something to do with Vivek's energy loss, but the how and why remain a mystery. That's why I must examine that staff. Everything you uncovered suggests the staff and Sothasil's missing tool are one and the same, and it's obviously connected to Chodala's newfound powers. Bring it back here so I can study it. The solution resides in the staff. I'm sure of it. Experience, Outlander. Experience. I have seen the Dunmer rage against the gods at the least provocation. When they realize that Vivek is ill, that his powers are failing, they'll weep and gnash their teeth like frightened children. The people don't handle the infirmities of their deities very well, especially when those infirmities could foreshadow Red Mountain's eruption or portend the moonlets fall from the sky. Once such fear ignites, it spreads like wildfire. They try not to think about them at all. The Ashlanders are savages. They refuse to acknowledge the supremacy of Lord Vivek and the Tribunal, instead putting their faith in the despicable Daedra. They're heretics, pure and simple. The Ashlanders hold to superstitions the way Quama protect their eggs. If they really consider Chodala to be the Nerevarin, then any action you take against him will enrage the tribes. Talk to Saren and see if she can suggest an alternative course.
The wary warrior weakens and withers, despite his dashing exuberance of expression. Do as the Archcanon directs, while I conserve my remaining energy, and do what I can to stave off this attack. If attack it truly is.
An Ashlander? Could a heathen actually threaten one of the Tribunal? Oh, such a thought makes my stomach hurt.
Outlander, quickly! This way! I've been thinking about my brother's claim that he's the Nerevarin since we last spoke. No matter how I try, the word tastes false on my tongue. And now I fear he's about to convince the wise woman that his quest for power will benefit the tribes. My brother is respected and revered. He has allies in all of the tribes, not to mention his personal Red exiles. We have to proceed with caution. Respect the Ashlander customs and traditions. Anything else will lead to violence and bloodshed. We talked to my brother. Tried to convince him this isn't the way. Barring that, we make sure the wise woman doesn't get drawn into his madness. Whatever Chodala says or does, don't attack him. We don't need a war between the houses and the Ashlanders. I was hoping she'd be here.
You're too late, dear sister. Despite your protestations, the wise woman has gone to the Cave of the Incarnate to confirm my claim.
Brother, Do you really want to pursue this dangerous course?
There was a time when you gave me your unconditional support, Seren. I miss those days.
My brother Chodala's about to do something foolish and dangerous. But by dusk and dawn, Azura put you and I on the same path for a purpose. I just hope we have enough time. He's about to claim the title of the Nerevarine and try to unite the Ashlander tribes gathered here. He already convinced the Red Exiles to support him. He's using them to intimidate the other tribes. If he persuaded the Wise Woman to his cause... Wise Woman Dovrasi, the most respected counselor and spirit guide this side of Red Mountain. She went to the Cavern of the Incarnate to meditate on Chodala's claim. If she confirms my brother's assertion, the tribes will follow wherever he leads. Agreed, but I dare not leave Chodala alone with the tribes. I feel the hand of Azura in all this. Go to the Cavern of the Incarnate and talk to the Wise Woman. I'll stay here and try to keep things under control until you return. The cavern's to the northeast of Aldrin, on the other side of the mountain. Hopefully, the rumbling and lava won't slow you down too much. Get to the cavern and talk to the Wise Woman. If she accepts Chodala's claim about the Nerevarine... My brother isn't the first to believe he's Nerevar returned. All of the previous failed incarnates rest within the cavern. A statue of Azura watches over them as they await the arrival of the true Nerevarine. Azura proclaimed that someday, Indorel Nerevar, a hero from our ancient past, would return to unite the Dark Elves and right the wrongs of Nirn. We call the returned incarnate the Nerevarine. My brother Chodala believes that he's Nerevar reborn. When Chodala became a Gulakan, a champion of our people, I supported him. When he stepped forward as Ashkan, leader of our tribe, I was at his side. But this new claim, it comes with strange powers and talk of war. I can't support those things.
She won't refuse my claim. Just in case, make sure the Red Exiles are ready.
Your word is law, Nerevarine.
You helped my sister. Thank you for that. But you don't need to worry about the Red Exiles anymore. They're under my control now. As for everything else, that's Ashlander business. There's no place for an Outlander here. Plotting? No, I'm confident that the false god will fall. Azura has proclaimed this, and I know it to be true. The Tribunal betrayed our hero and turned away from our religion. And they call us heretics. Bah! How overly simplistic the world must be to your eyes, Outlander. I am Nerevar reborn. I will lead my people to power and glory. The Wise Woman knows this. She will proclaim it when she returns. And no Tribunal lapdogs can change that. My sister is too naive and idealistic for her own good. Look at the power I wield. Feel the conviction in my words. While the House Elves squabble and fight to carve up our land, the Nerevarine will step forth to end their tyranny once and for all.
Azura is my shield, you foul creatures. Thank you for aiding me, but I sense you came for a different purpose. Let's talk inside the cavern. An Outlander? Surely there must be another way. No, my lady, of course not. I'll do as you ask. Come here, Outlander. We must talk. It feels strange to talk to an Outlander in such a sacred place, but the Queen of the Night Sky insists. I need to render judgment on an important claim and she says you can help me reach the correct decision. Words of truth from the mouth of an outlander. Remarkable. The Red Exiles and a few others believe that Chodola is the Nerevarine. He's convinced them, but not me. I came here to consider my options. I fear a bloodbath if I oppose his claim. Perhaps, but I must remain impartial. If someone else reveals the flaws in Chodola's claims by comparing him to the failed incarnates, that might do the trick. We thought the incarnates were possessed by the spirit of Nerevar, but each had a critical flaw that made them destined to fail to fulfill the prophecy. Their spirits reside here. Yes, you should speak to the incarnates. I see Azura's wisdom now. Take this pouch of blessed grave dust. Sprinkle a pinch upon the bones of the incarnates to call forth their spirits. Return to Aldrin after you have learned all you can. Perhaps we can curb Chodola's ambitions before they lead us to war. We need knowledge to defeat Chodola, Outlander. Listen well to what the failed incarnates have to say.
The Nerevarine remains a promise unfulfilled, and I am as guilty of prideful posturing as every other failed incarnate that occupies this hall. Ask your question and let's be done with this, Outlander. The Nerevarine must listen as well as proclaim. I refuse to accept wise counsel, which led to the doom of my tribe and the end of my quest to embody the spirit of Nerevar. Take my scroll and remind the wise woman that wisdom ignored is ignorance.
We are the failed incarnates, the Ashlanders who proudly proclaimed themselves to be the Nerevarine, but were found wanting. The Lady of Dawn and Dusk urged us to cooperate. So ask your question, Outlander. Take my scroll and help the wise woman see the lie of unbridled power. I thought myself the reborn Nerevar, for I was the strongest, most powerful warrior in all the land. But power alone won't save my people. In the end, it couldn't even save me.
Once I was the hope of my people, but then my claim was proven false. Now I wait, and I hope for the Nerevarines' return. State your question, Outlander, and I shall do as Azura urges. To fulfill the prophecy, I followed a path of blood and war. In the end, my path became a road that led nowhere, and I was cast down from my lofty spot. Take my scroll, and help the wise woman understand the futility of a senseless war.
Mortal, let us speak. I foresaw your usefulness before you even set foot in Vardenfell. Now comes a test that will challenge your ability to separate truth from lies. You must convince the tribes that Chodola is not the Nerevarine. Doversee's wisdom outshines most other mortals. She recognizes the futility of Chodola's claim. If she rebuffs him, however, the tribes will turn on each other, and blood will flow. The staff Sunra. It makes Chodola confident, reckless. Your instincts serve you well. Chodola's path took a dark turn. However, my sight clouds when I look too closely. Sothasil built Sunra, but he did not create it with this vile purpose in mind. You must act on my behalf, and Vivect. Then go. Return to Aldrun and help the wise woman reveal the falsehood of Chodola's claim. And let Saren assist you. She is my champion and a trusted friend of all Ashlanders. Use what the Incarnate shared with you. Their failures point the way toward Chodola's downfall. But beware Chodola's power. He may not be the Nerevarine, but some greater agency has lent strength to his conviction. Due to an ancient pact, I am not permitted to interfere in the affairs of Nirn. Even this casual discussion pushes the boundaries of that agreement. Instead, I must work through trusted agents, such as yourself and Saren. Helping that arrogant imposter? Whatever gave you the idea that I was helping that murderer? Vardenfell must stand. Everything I do in this regard serves that single goal. Best that you remember that, mortal.
Thank the moon and star. You've returned. The wise woman returned from the cavern of the Incarnate and went right into Scar to meet with the tribes. Chodola's in there too, about to be named the Nerevarine. Tell me you came back with something to stop my brother's rise to power. Ah, of course. Use the tales of the failed Incarnates to counter Chodola's arguments. That's brilliant. Well, except for one problem. An Outlander has no status in the Council. The Ashlanders won't listen to a word you say. Someone else has to present the arguments. Someone they trust. I suppose that means I have to challenge my brother. With your help, of course. You spoke to the Incarnates, not me. I'm familiar with their stories, but I'll need you to help me choose the appropriate argument to counter each of Chodola's claims. I hate opposing my brother in this. I just don't see another way. Incarnate Runso was strong and powerful. He thought that by strength alone, he could unite the Ashlanders. He failed. When Chodola proclaims his power, that's when we'll refer to this scroll's sad tale. Incarnate Ajiri was a champion of my people. She defended us against great threats. But when she grew to love war for war's sake, she proved she wasn't the Nerevarine. When Chodola proclaims that war is the answer, hand me this scroll. Incarnate Darnot thought his way was the best way. He rejected the counsel of the Wise Women and the Ashkans, something Nerevar would never do. When Chodola proclaims he knows better than anyone, we'll use this scroll. Meet me inside.
Must we continue this farce? It's obvious that I'm the Nerevarine.
Someone has stepped forward to challenge your claim, Chodola.
Saren, I'm disappointed in you, dear sister.
Enough. I shall hear your arguments and render my decision.
Even the Outlander can see that I'm the most powerful Ashkan. My strength alone proves that I am the Nerevarine.
Chodola puts forth his great strength as proof of his claim. Give me the scroll that discounts such a trait for the Nerevarine. Yes, that's a sound argument. Incarnate, appear!
As a warrior and as an Ashkan, I was the most powerful of my age. But for all my strength, I failed my people. Don't follow my example.
The faithless houses dare to threaten our land, but we shall meet them in battle, and I will lead us to victory.
This is more nerve-wracking than I anticipated. Which scroll do you recommend to counter this argument? That makes sense. I'll try that. Incarnate, appear!
I thought the path to the Nerevarine was a path of blood and battle, but my love of war was my undoing. War is not the way.
These failed incarnates prove nothing! I need no counsel but my own, as befits my status as the Nerevarine.
I think it's working. One more strong assertion, and that should do it. Of course. Let's see what happens. Incarnate, appear!
I refuse to accept the counsel of the wise women and the Ashkans. I thought I knew best, but I knew nothing. That is not the way of the Nerevarine.
Seren and the Outlander, their arguments have merit. Chodala, we deny your claim. You are not the Nerevarine.
This proves nothing! Look how the staff protects me! I am the Nerevarine! Red exiles slay the unbelievers!
No!
Go to my hut and get my healer's sack. Now.
Right away, wise woman.
This proves that Chodala's unfit to lead the Ashlanders. And his claim that he's the Nerevarine, preposterous. That hasn't stopped him and his followers from causing great harm, however. Seren went after him. Please, go help her.
I hate what my brother's become.
Mortal, I would have words with you. Chodala has been revealed as a failed Nerevarine, but that hasn't dissuaded him from his reckless course of action. As long as he wields the staff, he shall be unstoppable. Time is against you, mortal. Even now, Vivek, that pompous usurper, grows increasingly weaker. As much as I deplore him, Vivek cannot fall to Chodala's vile magic. There's another power at work here. One I can't quite put my finger on. Return to Vivek City. Do what you can to aid Vivek. And pay heed to my faithful vessel, Seren. I name her Champion of the Moon and Star. She will play a pivotal role in ending her brother's march toward godhood, if she survives.
That was... exhilarating. That was... glorious. Lady Azura's presence filled me with such wonder. She actually spoke through me. I heard everything she said, and I felt her sense of urgency. You need to return to Vivek City immediately. And help you I shall. Return to Vivek City, while I track down my brother and his damnable staff. With the Ashlanders against him, he won't have many options. After I locate him, I'll meet you, and we can find a way to break through Chodala's defenses.
I don't like the looks of that sky.
Pull yourself together. Wear a buoyant armature for Vivek's sake.
As a god weakens, so too does his city suffer. I know my people grow fearful. Even the Archcanon is distressed. But the energy that remains to me holds the moonlit in the sky, at least for now. So what news does my eyes and ears bring to me? How this upstart Ashlander learned to attune Sotha Seal's tool confounds my understanding. And he dares use my power? Still, your help is appreciated. Every strike and parry takes us one step closer to ending this threat and restoring my vitality.
Due to Lord Vivek's condition, it falls upon us to find a solution.